Welcome back to Channel 17 ER News.
Thank you for joining us. This time we have a story on the LGBTQ community.
Ever since the birth of media, the LGBTQ community has been represented poorly in all aspects of media. This includes movies, TV, and news sources. These media sources have played a role in continuing the bias against the community, and even though movies claim to be inclusive, most of the time they still aren't.
I agree. Even today, movies and TV, as well as news channels, are creating an unsafe environment for this community. The media has played a huge role in perpetuating the intolerance of society against the LGBTQ community. For a long time, this group wasn't portrayed at all in media. Lately, there's been an increase in representation. There are still very few prominent characters who represent this community, and even then, it is rarely a gay actor playing a gay character or a trans actor playing a trans character, and so on.
The bias this media portrays stems from what is considered to be a cultural normal. This bias focuses on the belief that being straight is normal, which is where the term heteronormative comes from. While identifying the LGBTQ community is considered different, the media either directly or indirectly portrays these biases, which helps fuel the bias within society. Even among media sources that claim they are inclusive, they are most often uneven portrayals anyways. Within these so-called inclusive sources, gays were represented 77% of the time, lesbians 23% of the time, and bisexuals 9% of the time. Sometimes these characters are only added into the movie as a punchline rather than being a serious character.
Leaving the LGBTQ community out of media or using them as a punchline keeps old prejudice alive while also creating unsafe environments for them. In order to combat these issues, the media needs to start sending better messages involving the LGBTQ community. One article we found is an example of how the LGBTQ community is represented in real life. It covers how the LGBTQ community, through an organization called Campus Pride, had released a list on the absolute worst colleges for inclusivity of the LGBTQ community. This list was created to include colleges that had requested a religious exemption of the Title IX rules, or colleges who used religious-based bigotry to discriminate against LGBTQ youth.
Throughout the article, the community is being portrayed as whiny and complaining, and it perpetuates the idea that they believe they are above everybody else. This article portrays the colleges as not having done anything wrong at all, while the community is demonized solely for wanting to have the same rights as others at these schools.
This list he created was mainly to warn the LGBTQ community about how they would be treated at these schools, and the media took it as an attack on these schools.
Hold up. This just in, I think we have an interview with some civilians. Ashley, what do you have for us?
All right, thank you, Connor. I'm here with Abby Reisinger in the field. How you feeling today, Abby?
Pretty gay.
When you think of gay, what kind of person do you picture?
Me and pretty much people I like, the gays, anyone who's not straight.
Fair enough. How do you feel the LGBTQ community is represented in the media?
Pretty much not at all, and if they are, they're usually used as a token character.
Mm-hmm. What kind of shows do they usually appear in?
They appear in pretty much all kinds of shows, but usually they're over-sexualized or they're killed off right away, so they're just kind of used as, like, I don't know, pieces, as opposed to, like, fully developed characters.
Mm-hmm. When someone says they're bi, what first comes to mind about them or about their sexuality?
Nothing really comes to mind, I guess. Bisexuality is, like, extremely valid, and anyone who says otherwise is a liar, so.
How does a person's sexuality hinder their everyday life and performance?
A lot of times they're discriminated against, so it's hard to, like, go to school go to work knowing that, like, people don't like you because of who you love. So, yeah.
And with that being said, are there any benefits?
Yeah, you're better than everyone else because you're gay.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for some first-hand opinions, Ashley. Overall, the LGBTQ community is represented poorly in the media, if they are represented at all. This poor representation is fostering the unsafe environment for the community and fueling old prejudices.
We need to advocate for equal and appropriate representation of the community in order to make them feel safe and welcome in the world.
Thank you for your time, and have a great rest of your week.
I'm waiting on you guys. Clap 3.
Okay, alright. Then why me?